Alright folks, how's it going? GGZII, bringing you another video. This one is following on from the last one we just did, which was sort of the reveal of Operation 4 and all of kind of behind that, my thoughts and feelings about the state of the game, where is it going, you know, that kind of thing. That was posted onto YouTube and that did really well, and I wanted to say thanks to everyone that's been liking and commenting on that video. It's been one of my most well received videos in a while. As always, if you do enjoy the videos, this channel is literally not possible without your support. So you can see I do have some goals below. I've recently just basically built a new computer, so any support that goes into the content goal goes back into paying off that. We've got a follower and a subscriber goal for twitch.tv/GGZ. And you can also hit the join button on YouTube. Join the community on YouTube. You get basically custom member-based videos only, some member-based posts, and obviously you get first sort of response when it comes to YouTube comments. That's kind of what I do. I spend an hour each day and I look at the members first, and I'll look at the public subscribers. So do subscribe, because otherwise I won't really be responding to your comment. It's just it's a way to get, you know, my channel back up on the subscriber count, because I think it's 87% still aren't subscribed. 87% of people that watch my videos, 87% of people that watch my free videos that earn me no money, that I spend 9 months straight working on, don't even click the subscribe button. So come on, if that's you, hit that subscribe button. It does go a long way. And leave a lovely comment. Again, thank you to everybody that's supporting the content goal. We have got $15 this month for the content goal, so anything that is donated is just entirely optional. The way I like to run it is I like to basically buy the thing, like buy the computer, and then say, listen, if you think the content's good enough and you want to tip towards it, that's fantastic. But I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, I'm not making any videos until you buy me a computer, because that's just incredibly unreasonable. Also, I don't do a Patreon and I don't do anything like that, because what I want to do is release the month's videos. Then you can look at the month's videos and go, all right, was this content this month worth supporting? And if it was, then, you know, and you can tip a coffee, a $5 or whatever. It just goes a long way to the growth and support of the channel. So onto the news of Gears 5. We obviously had Operation 4 revealed and reacted to, and I think it looks pretty good. I think most people would say it's about a 6 to 7 out of 10, judging by the votes and the comments that I read. And I think that's because it's like, okay, the game's stable now, but there aren't really any maps, and I personally still have a massive problem with the netcode. I made that big long video. If you haven't seen that big long video on the netcode, it was really well received. In fact, it's probably my most well received video since the skill gap video, which I made a long time ago, and never got any dev response from it, never got anything from it, and that was quite frustrating. I'll show you now. So basically, we made this big long dev stream, big long video, sorry, to send to the devs. I collected months and months of examples of the screen difference on the netcode of the game and broke down everything I could think of. Got about 6,500 views, it got a massive Reddit thread, it got a massive forum thread, it was on Twitter getting shared about. Every single person commented saying, you've finally someone summed up what I'm seeing in game, and nobody responded. So that was frustrating, because you can create the best Operation 4, you can create a lovely ranking system, but honestly, like, I'm going to struggle to play it because it's really frustrating getting killed by somebody that misses, or somebody that isn't where I think they are. I tried to play last night, I played 2 hours of execution, recorded it, and there was moments where I was like, I'm really enjoying the game again. This feels like Gears. It was the 5v5 execution. The weapon swaps were like classic Gears. So there was like 2 snipers, torque bow versus snipe. You know, the snipe didn't rotate out for an M bar or anything. It felt really good. And then I just kept getting killed. Like, there was ones where I'd slide behind a wall. I'd get headshot through a window. The guy would have like 150 ping. He shot me in the ankles and somehow my head's come off behind a wall. It just got very frustrating, and I just thought to myself, you can fix the ranking system, the maps, but if the core game still is frustrating, I'm going to struggle to play it, and that's just me being honest. So we'll go into the ranked, and what we're going to do is we're going to basically sort of read through the what's up about the new ranking system, and then we're going to go through the dev stream. And I'm not going to watch all of the dev stream because it's an hour long, and then the video is going to end up in 2 hours. But what I will do is I'll click through and I'll give you a sense of what the devs are talking about and why they made the changes to ranked that they did. So this is like their, you know, sort of furthermore explanation type of thing. So let's have a look, because I haven't seen this yet. Let's have a look at what they've gone and done. So Gears 5 ranked system is finally here. We realised the previous Gears ranked system didn't work. Whilst it was an accurate representation of player skill, press X to doubt, the end result felt arbitrary, confusing, and generally frustrating. A few months ago, the team began overhauling the ranked experience with a focus on 2 clear goals: to reflect the player's skill and make it easy to understand. 2 things I agree with. So the new rank system at its core is a journey. At the beginning of the season, everyone starts at bronze. Placement matches are no longer required. Right? How far and how quickly you rank up is based on how good you are and how much you play. Okay, I'm going to hesitate. I won't say anything yet because there might be more to read, but I don't think your skill should be based on how much you play. If I play 30 matches and never lose a game, I should very quickly go up the ranking system. I shouldn't, you know, like in League of Legends, if you consistently win and smash people, you actually can jump whole tiers. I don't think a ranking system should be based on how much you play, unless we're talking, you know, like legacy leaderboards where you check how much you've scored. Anyway, slight note there. Matchmaking is based on your rank. We'll do our best to make sure you're up against people in your rank, but depending on region, mode, time of day, your opponents can be up to 1 tier above or below. So I'm just going to say this out the gate. I won't be able to. I don't think I'll be able to play this. If I get to like Diamond, like if I get to like Diamond Masters, there's going to be no UK PC Masters players or Diamond, like really, especially with crossplay. Let's continue. I mean that's a good thing. Let me just rephrase that. For console, that's a good thing. That's how it should be. You shouldn't be playing, you know, 1 rank above or below. Like, sorry, you shouldn't not be playing 1 rank above or below. You know, the idea that you would be a Masters player and play bronze like last time was daft. So the idea now that you play 1 tier above or below is fine. And that's a good change. Whatever level you reach, we designed the system to be transparent so you always know exactly why you're ranking up or down. We're rewarding all ranked players for the time they invest. The higher you reach, the better stuff you get. Since this is a massive departure from our previous ranking system, which is very interesting because this to me just sounds like every generic ranking system ever made. So to say it's a massive departure just shows how stupid the last ranking system kind of was, because, yeah, you know, this is just a bog standard ranking system so far. We're starting Operation 4 with a ranked pre-season. Taking over the first few weeks of Operation 4, we're going to use this time to gather feedback and make adjustments before we launch the full season. The details, as with previous sorry, I was just thinking about another thing that popped into my head. Pre-season is kind of like what you have in League of Legends, and a lot of people don't play ranked pre-season because there's no point sweating pre-season because you don't get anything. Does that make sense? Like, a lot of people won't play pre-season because it's not their actual rank and they'll wait for the full season to launch. So we'll be interested to see how that is. Will they get enough players to actually monitor feedback? The details, as with previous systems, there are 6 different levels that players will progress through. Bronze 1 is the lowest tier, and they will work their way towards Masters. Yeah. Players move up, so they haven't changed the naming of the... I thought they might do some Gears twist, like change the name of, you know, the Bronze to Masters or something. But they didn't. So, you know, I've always I've always thought, you know, you could have just called it like Grub, Drone, Elite, you know, you could have called it something Gearsy. Anyway, the best and fastest way to rank up is to win, obviously. Players will earn GP for how they perform in a match, so depending on the mode, getting elimination, caps, breaks, are all more critical to ranking up. Again, I just... Right, okay. So the best way to rank up is to win. But you'll also earn GP for how they perform in a match. Every match costs GP to compete. So the higher your tier, the more it costs to enter. So does that mean there could be a point where you don't have enough GP to actually play ranked if it costs GP to enter? Or do you lose GP for losing? Sounds a bit weird. So the way I see it for me is a ranking system is if you win, it shouldn't matter how you perform. And people will and have debated me on this, but think about it. If you win, it shouldn't matter how you perform, because think about it. If you win every single game, you must be doing something right. You just must be. If it's 5v5 and the teams are even, and you're, quote, doing the wrong thing, but winning every single game, you actually must be doing something right. Because otherwise, once you get against 5 equal players, you would be the difference. You know, you've got 5 on the enemy team, you've got 4 teammates, you're the difference. And if you're consistently winning, you must be doing something right. So I've never been... I know Gandhi disagrees heavily with me here. I don't think that eliminations, caps and breaks should really impact your ranking system and score per minute. Gandhi basically says that, you know, the better players always have the highest score per minute because they're always doing more, and doing more shows you're a better player, which I agree with. But there are some scenarios where you will earn very little GP, you'll win, but you'll do things such as maybe you just zone out their spawn. You're just lancering and getting a couple of assists and you're really locking down their spawn, whilst 2 people in the background are capturing. You're blocking spawns. All of these things don't really add up, but they're crucial to a victory. Maybe you rotate and maybe you risk your life to pick up a boom shot and you backpack it so they don't get it and you win. None of these things are measurable by a robotic system. So for me, trying to measure eliminations, caps, breaks becomes difficult, because if you have a really bad team, it is also naturally going to be very difficult to break hills and to capture hills on your own. So you can end up still playing just as well, but your team don't give you the opportunity to capture through their playstyle. So I just feel like it should just be purely based on win-loss. That's just my thing. Now, don't dislike the idea of earning a little bit of extra for doing these things. I'm just explaining how I feel about ranked in general, so you know where I'm coming from. I just genuinely disagree that, like, for example, there's a strategy on League of Legends, Proxy Singed. You run around in their base and you pull all of the minions together and kill all of the minions, and you die. Like, you can go like 0-20 and win the game, because the enemy team has no minions, they crash into towers, you can do objectives, it makes pressure. But on a scoreboard, you haven't really done anything. So I think these type of things, I'm not saying they're wrong, I'm saying they become difficult to manage, because how, you know, it depends, doesn't it, what is worth more? Is an elimination going to be worth more than a capture? Well, sometimes the key game deciding play might be that I pushed out into a 1v3 and traded 3v2, and then they couldn't get the capture. But it just becomes very hard to weigh up for a robotic system to really judge what's the key factor to the victory. So for me, I just rather keep it simple. Anyway, so that's a little bit, it doesn't really explain anything. It just says every match costs GP to compete. So the higher tier, the more it costs. It doesn't say anything about stacking. So I believe you'll still be able to stack up a team and stomp everybody, from what I'm understanding. So the main problems with the ranking system for me were unclear how to rank up. So this seems to be that as long as if you win, you're going to rank up. But if you do a little bit extra, you're probably going to get some more points. I agree and disagree with this, so we'll just see how this one actually ends up playing out. Obviously, I've not played the ranking system, but again, somebody gets 30 eliminations, and I have 10 eliminations, but I've done a load of captures and breaks, and the way I've captured and broken the hill allows that player to get the 30 eliminations, and if it happens that eliminations are worth more, he's getting more rank based off my play. So it could become a situation where people are like, oh, breaks aren't worth anything, and this game's over, so I'm just going to stack up eliminations here, try get my GP up. I don't know how it's going to play out. It's all, you know, I'm not going to... What these videos aren't me sitting here going, I know everything about Gears of War. These videos are me going, let's have a chat. Because we haven't played the ranking system. This could be amazing. It could be terrible. You know, I'm not going to sit here and pretend I know the answer. I don't, but I'm just giving my thoughts. So in Operation 4, we've altered the ranked modes, okay, and we believe what will be the best competitive and ranked systems and blah, blah, blah. As such, we've selected modes that represent a wide variety of the most popular playstyles. King of the Hill, ranked, Gridiron, ranked, 2v2 ranked, and solo free-for-all. Team Deathmatch and Escalation have been removed. Wow. Team Deathmatch will now be a dedicated quick play playlist, and Escalation will be able to be played in custom lobbies. Alright. I don't like Team Deathmatch. I don't. But honestly, ranked free-for-all probably isn't going to have the player base. Let's think about it. There's not, you've got to be honest, there's not many players that play this game. Ranked free-for-all is what, 14 players? 14 players. That's effectively almost 2.5 full King of the Hill games. Well, it's basically two King of the Hill games because you need, you know, half a team extra. Just two, it's basically 1.5 to 2 King of the Hill games to wait for. I don't think free-for-all should be in ranked. I think free-for-all is the game mode that you just hop in, and if you're in a full lobby in quick play and you want to have some fun, that's great. Or you want to set one up in a custom, that's great. I know in theory, if you were the #1 free-for-all player in the world, that's quite a title. But the way Gears is, I don't think free-for-all should be in ranked. And I don't think 2v2 Nashes should be in ranked. Honestly, those to me are what I would call not casual game modes, but more party play. I understand you can be very good at 2v2 Nashes. I actually, for the entirety of the last month, was #2 in the world on 2v2 Nashes. So I'm not talking like I'm some noob. So, you know, but I don't think it probably should be ranked. It's just a daft game mode. It's just a bit of fun, something you do when you're a little bit bored, I believe. I don't really think it represents Gears of War. People will disagree because there's tournaments based around it, and I can already see it now. That'll be like, you know, I could maybe let that one slide, but free-for-all I'm not sure on. Gridiron is going to be incredibly team-based. I mean, like, really team-based. Like, you're not going to solo carry a Gridiron against a good team. You're not really going to do that in King of the Hill, but you might have the odd pop-off moment. Single life games in team-based scenarios, it's going to be very tough. I'm still not sure on Gridiron. I think it's a great mode. I just don't think many people play it, and it probably needs some tweaks to its weapon swaps and stuff. Also, Gridiron, from what I know of, still doesn't have the competitive aim assist changes and stuff like that. So to not have that is mad in a single life mode. King of the Hill I'm fine with. I'm just surprised about TDM because I don't like TDM, but it does play very differently. A TDM player, you can call it camping, you can call it whatever, does play very differently to a King of the Hill game, and it does require a little different set of skills. And people don't like quick play. You don't want to go into most people don't like quick play. This is why I think here's what I do. Again, I've said this before. I would just sack off quick play, and I would say you have ranked, and these are your set ranked goals, right? So, boom, these are your set ranked game modes. Sorry, I would have probably King of the Hill, Guardian maybe, Gridiron. If you're gonna have 4 game modes, TDM, something along those lines, right? Everything else is a custom game where players host it, because it just builds the community. People can host what they want. But the issue, I know what the issue with that is the issue is if everything was custom, they would have to give out rewards for playing customs, then people could, quote, boost in them, etc, etc. But again, I feel like if you put your brain power to it, you could probably solve that issue. I just don't really like the idea of quick play. Starting a game mid lobby isn't fun. Starting a game with bots isn't fun. Does this mean bots will be in team deathmatch, wasting people's lives? I don't know. All I will say is, and I don't like TDM, but I will defend your corner, lads. There are a ton of people that play ranked TDM and only ranked TDM, and have probably done so since what, Gears 3? And although I dislike the game mode and I don't like what it's done to the franchise, I recognise that there are a lot of people out there that's their only game mode they play. And to force them into quick play means basically if you only play TDM, all of these rank changes mean literally nothing to you, because you don't get to experience going up the ranks with GP or anything like this, because you have to play quick play. And I understand why they might have done this, because they want the quick play ranked, they want the team deathmatch ranked population to hop into King of the Hill, into Gridiron, 2v2 Nashers or solo play. But here's the way I see it. I don't think, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think a ranked TDM player would play King of the Hill, because it's wildly different. It's all about rotations, chaining kills, etc. I don't think they'd play Gridiron because it's single life objective game mode. It's too different. They won't be playing 2v2 Nashers because it's Nasher only, and solo play. So there isn't really a game mode in there that kind of represents the TDM playstyle. Again, I would have much preferred to have seen maybe 2v2 Nashers and free-for-all, wipe them off and put in Guardian. I think people would much rather play ranked Guardian, King of the Hill and Gridiron, rather than binning off TDM and putting in Nashers and free-for-all. Again, and we want to talk about escalation being removed from ranked. I've changed my opinion. I actually think escalation is one of the best game modes to come to Gears. And people will laugh at me, but the reason it's terrible is because you don't play it in a team, and you don't play it with even teammates. So this could have been an opportunity to have escalation be on the ranked circuit, because finally now you might have even teams. I'm okay with it being removed, but here's my little caveat. If you're removing escalation from ranked, which they are doing, it should not be on the pro circuit. I've done a video on this if you want to come and check it out and you want to talk about what I think esports is missing. I don't think the average esports viewer cares about a game mode if they don't play it. You can see it here. We're talking about this video, the esports video, and also these 3 videos here in a line. I don't think the average Joe that sits down and watches a pro game, why do they watch professional play? They watch professional play because they think to themselves, this guy plays the same game as me, but he does it a lot better. This guy plays League of Legends on Summoner's Rift, but better than me. This guy plays Apex Legends on the map, he's dropping, but better than me. I'm going to watch him. It's the equivalent of everybody playing League of Legends on Summoner's Rift 5v5, and then the pro game being Twisted Treeline, a game mode that nobody plays. That's kind of what this is like. Escalation should not be on the ranked circuit. If you can't play the game mode ranked, and it's deemed a useless ranked game mode, I don't want to see it on a ranked circuit. I have no interest. Like I said, since the dawn of time, when the game started, I made a video and I said, the average Joe wants to see themselves reflected in pro play. Here's what should be in pro play: Team Deathmatch, Guardian, King of the Hill. And when a team votes, they're not just voting a map, they're also voting a game mode. Then you could think to yourself, right, I'm watching this series, it's a best of 3. This team isn't very good at Team Deathmatch. They've just lost it. They've now voted King of the Hill. They're a much better, faster rotating team. They've tied it up 1-1. And now they're going to pick Guardian because they've just come up with a new strategy for a defense on Exhibit. And it would just feel, you would feel more in tune watching the leaders fight or not fight, or TDM or King of the Hill, because you yourself play those game modes. So you could think to yourself, right, this is what I normally do when I'm the leader on Exhibit. Let's see what a professional player does. I don't see that with Escalation. Why would I watch Escalation if you're just going to play it in a custom game? It needs to go, doesn't it? It just needs to go at this point. But again, so that's my initial thoughts. I might just leave this video up as a video on its own and link you the dev stream, because I feel like this video is getting very long, and I don't want to go over it too much. We'll jump into the dev stream a little bit just so I keep my side of the bargain, but I ran over there a little bit because it's very interesting that we've binned off TDM. I imagine there is a lot of very frustrated people that only play Team Deathmatch, and people will go, good, Team Deathmatch ruined Gears. Listen, I know it kind of did, but the point is you've got a massive player base that will only play ranked TDM. Now where do they go? Because they don't fit into these game modes, and they don't want to play quick play, and they don't get any of these rank systems. So I feel for you TDM players, I do. Let's jump into the dev stream for 10 or 20 minutes and let's let them shine some light on the new system, maybe break down a few things. Also, the ranking systems, the ranks will be displayed after the game, so you will know who and what ranks were in the game. All right, let's hop into the dev stream. Let's see what's up.
So our lead gameplay designer here at the Coalition.
Focused on PvP, I should say, because Michael's going to be on for PvE on Friday, so just to keep that clear.
Right, you're focused on, exactly, on PvP. And a Gears veteran yourself, having worked on every Gears war game, starting with Gears 1 PC, I believe.
Yeah, so I missed the original by, I think, 2 months.
Oh.
Yeah, worked on the port. Yeah, I know, right?
There you go. And that's and hence your Twitter handle, Gears Gentleman. It's the southernness coming out in you, I like to assume.
Yeah, I try to like represent that a little bit where I can. So
I'm gonna get you a seersucker suit.
Seems a bit warm, but yeah, I'll wear it.
Okay, so enough pleasantries out of the way. So I'm Dana. This is Jonathan Taylor. I call him Jote because we're friends. We're talking about rank today. So we had a ranked blog post we published earlier. Yep. So you have a bit of a PowerPoint. We're going to advance it along. What we're going to do for everyone that's watching, we're going to go through. We're just going to talk through sort of what we wanted to accomplish with ranked, how we ended up where we are, all of the decisions that we made, and then coming out of that, we're going to answer a bunch of questions. So I don't want to say we're like, you can throw questions into the chat right now, but
all right, so I'll let this play and we'll hear their thoughts, and I'll just chill back because I've given my thoughts now for a long time. Let's hear what the devs have got to say.
As we do there. So,
sounds good.
Ms. Stream Producer, can you advance by one slide, please?
Sweet.
There we go. So, Jote, what is our new rank system?
Okay, so I'm going to go through the bullet points. I'll try not just to read them. But yeah, so the new rank system, and we looked a lot at the rank system, the old rank system, and the issues we had with that. And some of the biggest problems we really recognized early were that it's really confusing. Like, you didn't know why you went up or went down. There's a lot of stuff going on. It's pretty black box system to people that are experiencing it. So sometimes you'd win and get 0 points or 1 point. Sometimes you lose and go up a little bit. And then sometimes you'd have huge fluctuations. So with the new rank system, we wanted to make sure that like it really was going to be clear to the player and reward players for their time spent. So they didn't feel as though, why did I go up or down? Like, why was I matched with that team? And why were I performed just as well in that match as the last match? And why did I not have the same results in terms of my rank? So the new rank system is really focused on bringing that clarity and really trying to appreciate the time that you're spending in ranked. And then one of the other items on that list was there were some things about the old rank system that when people were doing things for personal performance but might not have led to the best result for their team, they were being rewarded for that. So with this system, we wanted to make sure that as a team, winning was a thing.
Let's give a shout out to
made sure to reward as much as
2505 in the
possible.
chat.
So with this new system, winning is the focus. Like, you still get benefit for your personal performance. There's still reasons to go off and have a great game, and you're still going to have that feeling of, okay, I topped the scoreboard. But winning really is kind of the key element in terms of moving up and seeing good movement upwards through the ranks.
Right. And we're gonna and then just as I may interject with color. We are gonna as you kind of get into there, we're gonna get into what are the points one can earn. We're not gonna talk about that today, but you guys will see that as it launches next week.
Yeah, I think one of the nice things about the system, like just opening the game, and we'll have it probably posted on the web as well, and a few other things, might do updated blog posts. You can easily see kind of the receipt for your activities. You can see how much it costs to actually enter the match. We'll talk a little bit more about that later on. You can see what the activities you were doing were worth, and you can get an idea of why you got the score that you got and the movement that you did between ranks. So we're hoping that this system is way more transparent. I think it really provides the player the information they need to understand what they need to be doing better if they're not finding themselves moving up through ranks. So
cool. Next slide.
Yep, we can do that.
So what are the basics?
Oh, sweet. Okay, sorry, it's taking a little bit longer to update on my stream here. It's weird not having you to look at, Dana.
Oh, I know. I'm so handsome.
2 seconds behind. Beautiful man, Dana.
Or not.
I think you are. So yeah, the basics. So it's pretty straightforward. The matches have a cost to enter. In bronze, the cost is 0. I think the screenshot we posted on the blog mentioned that. As you move up through rank, the cost increases. So for early matches, like, your individual performance will still allow you to move up even if you don't win in early ranks if you perform well enough. So that way you don't feel like, oh goodness, I tried my hardest and I didn't go anywhere and I'm still in bronze. So you'll still see movement upwards with that. As the ranks increase, that cost increases. So we can go into more detail, but that's kind of the basics there. Different activities within that match, as I mentioned earlier, they're going to give you different values, and it depends on the game mode. So obviously some objective-based game modes have things like ring breaks and captures to consider. Eliminations are like another big thing. There's other activities like touchdowns and gridiron. So there's different balances there for each of the game modes based on what we'd expect and what the data shows you typically would get within those game modes. The values are pretty clearly posted, so it's once again really clear at the end of the match, like what you did, what the values for the activities were, and what your total outcome was. Yeah, and winning a match.
Okay, so that answers a few questions. It sounds like there's going to be some sort of detailed breakdown that is going to explain what is good and what is bad in terms of what you need to do to rank up. So that answers a few questions where I was like, how do I know if the eliminations were more important than these? Is it going to be a back-end system? It sounds like it's going to be a front-end system in the sense that at the end of the game, you'll be able to go, oh, I actually gained a ton of skill for doing loads of elims, not so many for captures or vice versa. And it looks like you'll be able to build a picture up in your mind of what you need to do next time to maybe gain some extra points. So the way I see it is you get ruffle stomped into the ground by a team, but as long as if you earn enough gears points and do enough good things, you're going to earn enough gears points to then re-enter the match, then you might be able to win and climb. So it's kind of like you go up the system, you might lose, but as long as if you're doing the basics correctly, you're going to earn enough GP to then re-enter and potentially win the next one. Again, my big worry with all of this, maybe they address it, maybe they don't. The ranking system is not going to matter if you can still stack, because everybody will just stack, race up to the top, smash everybody, and then what? It's not really indicative of individual skill. It just becomes a stack carry. We'll see if they change that. Let's have another listen.
Match is, like I mentioned earlier, like the most important thing in terms of point gain. So even if you do really well, but your team loses the match, you're not going to gain as much as the opposing team would. That win is super important. That teamwork is super important. Yep. And then so for the most part, and especially earlier ranks, higher ranks, personal performance needs to be factored in a bit more. But earlier ranks, if you win, you're going to go up. if you reach a certain higher rank like Diamond, it starts to actually start including a little bit more personal performance. But as long as you're playing and actively involved, you're going to be able to overcome the match cost and go upwards as well. Yeah, let me go to the next one.
All right, next slide. So the modes.
Yeah, this is going to be the
so
one that,
much of the drama today on my Twitter feed was around this.
Yeah.
So I know that right now all I'm seeing is like TDM, 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 TDM. So we're going to talk about that in a bit. Let's just get through the slide, and then we're going to answer some of these questions.
Yeah, and I think I'll try to touch on a little bit of that here, but I'm sure there's going to be some deeper questions, and people are curious as to why we're doing what we're doing. So, so in OP4, we posted in the blog, for those that didn't read it, the 4 modes that we're going to have are, we're bringing free-for-all to ranked. People have been looking forward to that for a while. The new system we have fits free-for-all quite well, and so we're really happy with it. We think it's going to be a great addition. And we're keeping King of the Hill, Gridiron, and 2v2 Nasher. We're lowering our overall rank modes to 4. There's a few different reasons for that. Matchmaking, as well as the competitive nature of some of the modes, or things we'll get into in a bit more detail later. So yeah, Team Deathmatch and Escalation, they were in for OP3. They've been in since the beginning. We're removing Team Deathmatch and Escalation from ranked for Operation 4. We are taking a look at those modes, and we have a few different things we want to try to work on and improve with both of those that we would like to put in through the beta playlist and really get feedback on. So we're actively looking at addressing some of the issues we have with those modes.
Right, so it sounds more like they're not happy with the current game modes rather than they're just gone forever. I think I did a thread on this a couple months ago. For me, what Team Deathmatch should be is each player has like 3 lives. That's it. It speeds the game up. There's a little bit less camping, because there's nothing more frustrating than you dying once and being like, wait, there's no lives left for me to respawn because Joe Blogs 29 _ 1821212 has wasted 37 lives just running in with his Lancer at this guy. Like, that's obviously a problem. Like, it could easily be resolved with just each person has a set amount of lives and you're done with it. I think that would be a quick solution to make it more fun. You know, you can dial that number, change that number, but I think giving each person a limited number of lives is better, just because you still get that respawn nature and you still get that 1v10 clutch situation, but you're not seeing somebody waste like 20 lives, because that's very frustrating. I think a lot of TDM players would agree with me there. So it sounds more like they're looking at tweaking them rather than it's just a straight up removal from ranked permanently. Sounds like they're wanting to change them and then get them back into ranked. But again, I still think people are going to be very frustrated with that change.
Try to bring them up to the competitive level we want them to be in the case of TDM, and an escalation to really smooth out some of the rough edges and make it better for public play, as well as addressing some of the issues that the esports community has brought up with the mode. So we're hopeful that taking the time to remove them and retool them and focus on feedback that we've been getting and what we want them to look like, and then bring them back out appropriately and working well, is going to be the healthiest thing for the game. I want to speak a little bit to the TDM change, because I know TDM, obviously, it wasn't the health of the population was actually quite good in TDM ranked. That's not the reason. That's not really a contributing factor. But there are things that kept it from being as competitive as we want it to be. There was some issues with the way that the spawns are being done and other things that we think we can improve on. We wanted to take this opportunity to do that. While we do that, we're putting TDM in as a quick playlist on its own. So it won't be mixed in with the grab bag of other modes. You'll be able to play TDM by itself. There will be no bots. And we're looking at ways to be able to improve the strictness of the matchmaking for the quick playlist.
So there's no bots. That was a
We don't want to make it so sweaty that
no
people
bots.
that want to play TDM, comfortably don't feel pressured. But we do want to bring it up so there'll be a little bit more of closer to the competitive style that we would see from a ranked TDM.
I think that's important. I think to me that's an important condition. As sorry, I was laughing at the cleaner that walked behind you there. The skill-based part of it, because I think a big chunk of what people like about ranked is obviously, when it's working in its best state, the being matched up in a sweaty match you can't beat it. And for us, making sure that some of that skill is a little tighter than other quick play lists on TDM. You know, we're looking at that. Is it important as people in a quick play setting?
Yeah, and I think the thing to mention is we're not trying to remove your TDM experience. We want to take a look at the new rank mode, or the rank system, and how TDM fits within that, and how we can best make it fit. There's been some problems. TDM really remains unchanged, basically since Gears 3 when we introduced it. There's been some issues that it's a little long in the tooth, and there's some things that we can do that we think will improve the experience, and we're going to be putting it out there to get feedback from the community as well. And we're hopeful that you guys will be able to work with us to really improve that and make it where we do feel like it's something we could bring back into rank potentially. And like I'm sure we'll get more questions on it. I'm happy to dive deeper into that, but I want to be really clear that we're trying to provide a really strong, fun TDM experience without the ranking bit while we work on the mode and while we look at what we need to do to improve it.
I think that's a fair response. We'll jump to what's next because preseason is preseason, but I think that's a fair response. And honestly, like, whenever I listen to the devs, like I say, they're no fools. Like, people like paint the picture that these guys they're no fools. It's just taking a long time. I'm willing to help out, you know, and do my videos and give my feedback and throw my 2 cents in there. It seems to be like the game's going in a good direction, doesn't it? The only question I really have is about stacks, and I don't know if anyone's going to answer it. And I don't really kind of want to watch a full 1 hour and make this video like 3 hours long, so I will watch it and just put in the comments below if there is actually a problem with stacks. We'll listen to Jonathan here wrap it up, and I'll say thanks for tuning in. Let's just listen to the wrap up here. Leave a like and a comment as always, and if you are able to, support the content goal so this channel can continue to exist. Thank you.
The rank season is preseason is going to operate very much like the rank season. All we're doing is we're taking some of the data in there. So I'm going to use a speculative example. If we feel like people are ranking up too quickly or ranking up too slowly, so if everybody ends up in Diamond, then we're going to look at some of the match entry points to tweak that and adjust that as an example. Or if no one is ranking up quickly enough, then there's that. So we want to go through and have this preseason where we can take into the data of the way people are playing, as well as the feedback that you guys are giving us, and saying like, oh,
there he is, my boy Gandhi EM asking the important question: how do you expect to compensate for parties versus solo players in the new system? That's the question I want to know, and I don't know if it's going to be answered. But that is the question we're on everybody's lips, because otherwise, it sounds brilliant. All the changes sound good, but if you can just stack up and smash everybody, it's not going to be fun for anyone. So we've got to see.
Okay, yeah, that's a good point. Or something that we tested and our modeling didn't work out, but now that we're getting, Yeah,
it's worth bringing up. We did a simulation that uses production data. And that simulation allowed us to see the distribution of players based on how many matches they played and the average time it took for them to reach different ranks, and then how their skill rating would match where they actually ended up in the experience. And we wanted to make sure that we still had a good spread, and that the distance you actually make it within the ranking system, it definitely will playing more you're going to have progress is going to be based on how much you play to a degree. There's going to be a bit of that, but really it does in the long term, the spread between the different ranks matches and looks like what you would get in a skill-based system, a strictly skill-based system. So even though the system is using skill rating to matchmaking and other things going on that aren't really tied into the way the new rank changes work, the spread between Masters and Diamond and Onyx, we expect it to be very, very similar to what a skill-based system would provide. Okay. And that's based on a simulation. So as we get...
So yeah, there's only... I'll wrap it up there. I think we get the idea. There's going to be some questions and answers. There's going to be the theory behind it. It sounds like we're going to have to give it a test because it's a ranking system. We're going to have to play it. There's only 2 concerns. How do we compensate for parties and solo players? And also, what do quitters mean? Because if a game goes 5v4, we all know it. If you're against a good team, the one extra player, especially in sort of game mode like King of the Hill, you know, maybe not like a TDM, but in a game mode like King of the Hill, one extra player just it means that you pretty much have no chance. One less player, sorry. You know, so what does a quitter do? If somebody quits out, you know, am I given like a Gears point compensation to sort of nullify that, etc.? Those are just basically my two main concerns. I guess we'll have those answered when it actually comes down to playing it. So thanks for tuning in. That's kind of your little ranked update. Let me know in the comments below what you think about that. Does it sound good? Does it sound bad? This is GGZ signing out.